I was running late, so my hair is still kind of wet, so don't mind that. But hi and welcome. So today's painting, if you love making thin lines, or if you're like, I really need to start practicing those lines, tonight's the painting for you. So lots of line making, lots of using the edge of your brush, just a few colors. I actually have 4 colors on my palette. I have white, black, orange, and pink. You could add as many colors as you'd like. So just get your supplies out. I'm using acrylic paint tonight. Watercolors, colored pencils, crayons, markers, all are perfect. And we'll get started in just a moment. I'm also using a canvas, and my canvas is vertical. But I guess you could turn it sideways if you'd like. What else? I have just an assortment of brushes. I have a large brush, which I'll definitely be using a lot tonight. So I just have an old chip brush, perfect. Anything will work though, nice big brush. I enjoy when I'm painting to use like a rag. It lasts longer and it works better. So if you have just like an old towel or a rag, just keep them and cut them up. I have a little drawer all with my little rags in it. And that saves on my paper towels too. I have my cup of water, and yeah, so I'll just show you the setup if you were sitting at your table, how I would set it up. I am going to be using a vertical canvas today, and also I'm going to be using a Sharpie for my dragonflies that I don't have up there yet, but we'll do it all together. Yeah, I'm not going to use a paintbrush. I am going to use a Sharpie. You can use a paintbrush if you like, but I'm not. So I'll just show you my setup if I were sitting down. I was painting all day today. The day flew by. I wish I could show you. Maybe I will. All right, let's see. All right, so if I were painting, I'd have my canvas in front of me on my table, and then my palette of paint would be right underneath me. I also have, my paper towel. I also have my little rag. I like using those instead of a paper towel. My Sharpie, water, my paints. I'm using just acrylic, a nice Craft Smart, great for beginners, acrylic paint. I have pink, orange, white, and black. So I would sit with my palette right underneath my easel, so I have easy up and down looking at my my painting. All right, so let's make it our own. Let's have fun, and lots of lines, lots and lots of thin lines. And it's going to be shaky for just 1 second. Whoop, sorry about that. So practice. This is, have a scrap piece of paper. And we'll talk about that edge, and we're going to nail it. We're going to get these, I promise. All right. I think I'm going to show you what I've been working on today. It's not done. It's not done, but I'm going to show you. So hold on. I'll be right back. All right. So this has been, I've been working on this here and there for quite a bit. All right, ready? So here's my painting that I'm working on right now. I just wanted to show you because I'm really excited about it. I'm having fun with it. I'm gonna do one more day on it, and then it will be done. All right, that's all because it's for someone. Okay, yay. All right, anyway, yeah, so paint. Here we go. Get your supplies out, get comfy, get a snack, and let's get started. Thanks, Laura. I just worked out and showered, and I'm all wild looking. But I know you're talking about my painting, but how are you? All right, so here we go. Let's do this. Let's get started. So I'm going to have my big brush, and I'm going to start by making a moon on my canvas, and it's just going to be with white paint. And I'm going to make this circle bigger than my hand open. So big. Thanks, Laura. Bigger than my hand open. All right, so we're gonna make this circle pretty big. And also, I put my circle a little bit to the side. So mine's over, if it's over to the left, it might look over to the right to you, I'm not quite sure. But whatever side you wanna have it on, or you could have it in the center. I have it a little off center just for a little bit more interest in my painting. So I'm going to dip on into the white paint, and I'm going to create a circle that is bigger than my hand wide open. All right. So I'm going to find a good spot over here. Load my brush on up, tap on in, tap, tap right on in. We don't want drips, but we want to move that paint on that canvas. So I'm going to put it down and I'm going to start wiggling it out. And what's important is to kind of stand up when you're painting this part and kind of lean back, take a few steps back, and make sure that you're getting a nice circle that you're looking for. So this could be early morning, or this could be the moon. Whatever you think it is. So I'm just going to do a test. See if it's bigger than my hand. Yep, I got it. So my white is bigger than my hand. So I feel great about that size. So make sure you have it bigger than your hand. All right. So now what we're going to do is start working on our background. And we're going to start riding around our circle, and we're going to ride on the outside, and then we're going to gradually move into riding in on the wet white paint. All right. So it was really big, right? It was bigger than our hand because we're going to bring it in and make it a little bit smaller. So because we're making it smaller, we want to go slow so we have more control on how big our circle is going to be. Also, if you're painting flat, prop it up like on a book or something on one end, because if you're making a circle and you're doing it flat, I'm pretty sure you're going to get a big oval. All right, so just kind of flip it up every once in a while at least. All right, so my white wet circle is right there. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dip on in. I'm going to have white on my brush, tap on in just a little bit, and I'm going to add a nice corner, plenty into the pink paint, and then I'm going to flip it and I'm going to add just a little bit into the orange. So lots of white, little bit of pink, orange. That feels good. Let's see what happens. I'm going to ride on the edge of my brush. So here's my ice skate edge. There's my toe, right? Standing our brush up on our canvas. Now, I'm going to allow it to really blend in a moment, but right now I'm riding on the edge on the dry canvas. All right, and now I'm going to start working it. Move my little stand. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start working that wet edge of the pink, and I'm going to start working it into the wet of that moon. But I want to keep stepping back to make sure I'm getting a nice round moon. And I'm really kind of working it. So I made a circle, went right around my moon in the dry canvas. And then after I got my circle on there, I went back in on that edge and rode around on the wet pink edge into the wet white edge. And I kept working it until I had a nice blend. And I have the size of the moon I now really want. So see, I did go down quite a bit in size, and I could go back over it again, kind of soften my edges, make it a little bit more of a glow. All right, nice. All right, so for the rest of my background, I'm going to start working in a circular motion. We've done this before, and of course you could change it. You could do kind of a flip-flop brush stroke or flat, whatever you like, but I really like that kind of like round feeling. And I'm going to continue with a lot of pink, little orange and white. And then as I got down to this bottom section here, I got more orange, more white, less pink. And we'll do it all together, so don't worry. Let's bring it on over here. All right, so here we go. Tap on into your white, good amount into that pink, a little bit in orange. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to continue on. And you could make this as pink as you'd like, as orange as you'd like. You could add purple into it, whatever you'd like. Add a little bit more pink into mine. And if I'm like, ooh, now I have like a dark line meeting there, all I have to do is just add a little bit of my white and just brush on that edge. I'm just going. And if you get any bristles from your brush, just use a corner and pick it right on out. Happens all the time. So I'm just adding the same combination, whoop. And if you get, this is a great little, if it happens, if you have a little bit, I got a little bit of black in mine. So instead of just kind of going over it, I'm going to just wipe off my brush, and I'm also going to wipe it off my canvas where I got it on there, because I don't want to smudge it anymore. And all I need to do really is just find a nice clean spot on my towel and wipe it right out. There we go. I hope I don't have any more in. So always, you know, grab that paper towel, grab that rag, and get rid of that paint rather than just put Band-Aids on it. So I'm going in, I'm continuing in a circular motion. I'm going to take this top off for a sec. Add a little bit more white. And you can kind of play with, you know, allowing there to be streaks of one color or the other, or having streaks of white. It's whatever you like. Make it your own, or as solid as you'd like. Holding on to my canvas. If you have a tabletop one, don't let it run away from you. Check that kickstand in the back. And if you are looking for some supplies, I do have a few more sets or a few more supplies left. And of course we can meet, or I could drop off. So I'm just continuing. If you're getting close to your sides, or if you're touching your sides, you can just, if you want, you can decide if you want it to have finished edges, or you could just leave them white. I'm kind of bad at remembering to do my edges, but I normally do frame my work, and I'm going to give you a little tip on framing. So it's very expensive, right, to try to get like your pieces framed, but you could go and just buy a frame. You know, you go to Michael's or anywhere, and they have like the frame with the glass in the back and all that. Just take the frame part off and then just pop it onto your canvas. It's so easy, and I mean, it's just, it saves so much money. And I didn't know that until just recently, that I didn't really have to spend a ton of money. So yeah, just buy, when you see one that's 16 by 20, that's the size that we use, and it's on sale, definitely grab it and just pop it right out. You don't need the glass when you're using acrylic. All right, so I have a lot of pink, and I have a nice white. I have some different darks and lights in there. I'm liking the movement. I like how that looks. I'm going to focus now on the bottom here with white and some orange. I'm going to keep whatever pink I have on there. I may add more. We'll see what happens. But let's see. So I'm going to add some white, tap on into that white. I'm going to add a nice corner into my orange. And I'm going to start below. So I'm going to start a little bit lower than my pink wet paint. And because we're going to blend. So I'm getting all that extra paint off, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's pretty dark. I just need to add some white there. Oh yeah, there it is. Getting all the extra paint off by bringing it as far down as I can, and then I'm gonna go back up. So I'm gonna go back on up, riding on that edge, working from my orange, white, up into that pink combo, and I'm working on that same curve. Hold on to your canvas if you need to. Right on down, painting the sides if you want / remember. I need a sign in my, when I'm painting, that says paint your sides. I need one of those, or like a t-shirt. Okay, I think that looks awesome. All right, I'm happy. I love the size of my sun or moon, whatever it is. I also love my little glow I got going on. I love the pink, and I love this like really light orange down here. All right, so that feels good. I'm gonna let this dry just for a little bit because I did or do like a little bit of the background color mixing in with my black flowers. It kind of softened it. You could let it dry completely, grab a blow dryer, give it a quick dry. If you want it to be super intense black silhouette, I want mine to be a little bit, a little mixed to it just to soften it a little bit. I am going to play with some flowers. We'll play with a few different views of our flower, and we're really going to talk about that edge. We're really going to focus on getting a nice sharp edge or a very thin line, or just having control of our line. And we're going to work on our dragonfly together. I'm going to be using a Sharpie for my dragonfly or dragonflies. If you want to join me, sure. I just couldn't, for some reason, I just couldn't get it with my detail brush today. So I'm like, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to use a Sharpie. So I'm just letting my canvas dry, just talking. So let that dry, and we'll get started with that in just a moment. So I have, that I'll probably be using, I have a nice flat brush, my long one. If you've painted with me, you've used this plenty of times. It's just a nice small flat, and or any flat brush small that you have that you like and has a nice sharp edge. Also, if you want to be using, or do you want to use your detail brush, find one that you like. But I'm going to probably be using my flat brush for most of this. So just kind of letting her paint dry for a few minutes. And we'll get that dragonfly on there, or a couple dragonflies on there. But I hope you're all having a nice night. The day flew by for me. All right, so I'm gonna grab another canvas just to go over some ideas for our flowers. All right, so I don't have an exact, like a daisy, like these kind of are, but let's see, I have this flower here that maybe we can kind of get an idea. Okay, so pretend the yellow of this one is like the yellow of the center of a daisy, right? So I can see the whole center, it's kind of like a round circle, and then I see all my petals all around, right? Then if I turn it sideways like this, I'm going to see just a little bit of my yellow. It's kind of like a oval. If it was a round one, maybe it would have a slight mound to it. And then let's check out these petals. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That I can see. All right, so we got that. And, you know, as it kind of turns up the center, look how the center is now pointing up, and would have like a slight round mound. And then I have 3 petals showing. So just kind of think about how the flower is on or growing, and how you would, what you would see. All right. We don't have to draw all of them facing forward, or we could, whatever you like. So that being said, I'm going to grab my long brush, and I'm going to be using black paint, and I may even be introducing a little bit of that background color into it to just kind of soften it up a little bit. But to kind of go a little more from what we just were talking about with the flowers, let's just kind of see what happens, right? Let's see one on a canvas. Let's see. All right, so all right, so let's do a side view, one that is facing up like this. So it would be like that, right? And I'm going to do a slight mound, so a little frown. And then I'm just going to kind of give it the bottom edge. I'll fill that in. Now I'm going to think about what flower petals can I see when it's facing up. All right, and pretend that's a daisy, so I'm going to see this ends over here. And I'm using the edge of my brush, and I'm just kind of drawing a line out and then coming back in. And just kind of thinking about how my petals would be falling. All right. You don't have to curl them down, you know, really far. I mean, they totally could be like that. You could do however you'd like. I would practice some of these on your paper before going up on your canvas. So that is up. And then let's just do a side view. So I'd have my mound of the center. Set this up. Something like that. Let's take a peek. All right, so I would see my top one. I would see my bottom one, and I'm doing the same thing, just riding on my edge and coming right back. And then I would see some of these guys, and these might be, you could even do these like really short because they might be right at us and it'd be foreshortening, so they don't have to be too long. Something like that. And of course I could have a hole right around the front, and I can really just kind of play with my petals however I'd like those. All right, let's do this. So I have a couple different flowers. So I have that one, and then I also have these here, which are those little white ones. I forget what they're called. I think they're called like something lace. I'll think of it. So let me put my flower away, grab my paint. I'm using my flat brush, and I'm going to start adding my flowers, my big flowers, because these are like the main ones in my painting. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 in that painting, but let's just see what happens over here. So I'm going to load my brush with the black, wipe on both flat sides, and I'm just going to really think about here, I'll kind of pull this back so you can see. So think about your edge of your brush, think about placement, think about size, think about direction of your flower, and also just kind of make it yours. Here we go. So I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to do this one here, which is facing up. So I'm going to do a line. I'm going to kneel, and I'm going to add the little top mound. And of course you can hold this on your lap. You can lay it flat. You could do whatever you'd like. If your back of your hand is clean and your canvas is dry, you can totally put your hand down. Just be aware of, you know, don't smudge your paint. Okay, so I have this here. Now I know I'm gonna have my sides, and I'm gonna have my few in the middle here. So I'm gonna drive on that edge, come back in. I'm kind of making like a loop, and I'll fill it in again later. Practice on your paper first. I mean, that's even kind of pretty just like that. But I'm going to go ahead and fill it in. My canvas background is pretty dry. But I could, if I wanted it to be super silhouette, super black, I could continue with just black. But I think I kind of like how it's soft over here. So I'm going to add, I think I'm going to try adding just a little pink. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. All right, I like that. That looks good to me. I'm going to move on over. This one's going to be kind of facing towards my sun or moon. So I'm going to get that top in. I'm going to make my little mound. So it's almost like a D, and the D keeps like switching position. Again, keeping in mind where your hand is, and so you don't smudge. And I'm just going to make my line for my bottom of it, and just a little mound. You can make it as big as you want, like a Black Eyed Susan. They have a big center mound, but these particular ones are a little smaller. And now I'm going to just think about, similar to this one, that I'm going to seed my sides. And this is kind of similar to, I think we did a daisy one a few weeks ago. So if you did that with me, you already kind of got those down. And my brushes started to get a little saturated with paint, and so I'm just going to wipe it off, dip back in. I wasn't getting a nice solid line. It was getting kind of yucky, so every once in a while I try to, you don't want to make it harder for yourself, so by just wiping off your brush, that helped. And if I want to add any more pink to that, or white, whatever color you'd like to add, just to kind of soften it. All right. I'll bring you down just a little bit more. All right, so I have these two over here, and now I'm going to focus on these three. So I have 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to add those onto the side, this side here. Let's see if I can have this a little further back for you. Okay, maybe you want to do a full front one, or you want to do one going up. I do have an up one, completely up, and there, just kind of think about what direction you want. There is no wrong. So I'm just going to go over here and just kind of playing with the heights. So adding that little center, and then adding my petals. And I think I need a little bit more paint because I wasn't getting enough coverage. And I think I'm gonna add one more right here. Every once in a while, like, step back before you add, just to kind of say, do I really need it, or does it look all right? All right, so I'm gonna do, on my painting over here, I think I'm going to move the placement. I think I'm going to move it up a little bit. So I'm going to do one here. So your painting will tell you where it needs. So I do usually start with the ends. And then continue filling in from there. So I am using that edge of my brush. Something like that. All right, I'm gonna add one more, nice big one right here, and I'm gonna do the same thing, that white, that pink and black combo. I like how dark that is. I'm going to move it over just a little bit over here. So I'm going to do something like that. Just taking my time. And of course, you know, you could get your centers in and then go back to it later and add your flowers. Don't feel rushed. All right, I think I'm gonna add just a little bit more pink just on the top. Of these, just to kind of give it a little bit of a highlight from that sun or moon. I did buy a plant that I'm very excited about. I think it's called Moonflower, and it flowers at night, and I'm very excited about it. I think I need one over here. I think I'm going to add another petal right over here. All right, that feels good. All right, so for my next flower, I'm going to add, I have 2 in this one, but I think I'm gonna do 3 in this painting here. And it's very easy, and it is a lot of that edge. So here we go, we're gonna talk more about that edge, and we're gonna get it tonight. So using our edge of our brush, I'm going to be using the bottom edge, all right? So that whole bottom edge right there. And I'm going to stand it up on the canvas like this. And all I have to do is slide. So I'm not putting like any pressure on there. I'm just standing it up and sliding. And I get a really nice thin line from that. So I wipe the extra paint off on both sides to compress those bristles and get the extra off, and then I just stand it up and slide. All right, so now that we really talked about our edge, so think of it as an ice skate. You need your whole bottom of your ice skate on that ice to slide, right? Okay, let's talk about this flower. I think it's called a queen lace or something like that. My version of it. So here we go. Let me just fix this lighting for a second. Here we go. Now we're cooking. All right. So here we go. My little flower version of this flower. I'm going to just start with like a little V for the base of it. So that's going to be the center where all the feathers, all the petals are going to come out of it. Now it's almost like a firework, and all I'm going to do is kind of do some lines going out of it like so. All right, and I can do like a few shorter ones in there as well. And then all I'm going to do is I could pick up a smaller brush, or I can just use my edge, and all I'm doing is just kind of tapping, pull, 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 tap, creating these little tips. All right, I'm going to do it one more time. So I start with the base, which is my little V. I can fill it in. I'm using that edge. And I'm just letting them kind of fall however they like. And I can do some smaller ones in there. And then I'm going to get all these little feathery stagger them a little bit. Just like that. That's our flower. Cool. All right, so I'm going to do 3. And of course you can do however many you like or whatever your painting is asking for. Let's bring you on over. All right, so I'm going to do one right here. So I'm going to start with that little V for the base. And I could use a round tip brush to do this as well. And I'm just going to fill it in. This is that part where all my little petals are going to go right on into. Okay, wipe your brush off on both flat sides, press those bristles. You're going to stand your brush right on up on your canvas. And we're going to start creating our petals, which are just lines. So make sure you're comfy. You can always hold your canvas or lay it flat. Whoop. I've been very clumsy today. And I think I'm like determined to like kill my computer. I've spilled my paint water on it. I've like dropped it. I'm having one of those days. So I'm just going in and just kind of making these lines. So practice those lines. And now I'm going to add those little toppers. So just using the bottom, and I'm just kind of pulling. And these are just staggered. Something like that. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do one, I think down here, right here. I think that's what it's needs something right there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to kind of build up the base, which is just my triangle, and I can always use a smaller brush if needed. Wiping on both flat sides, and then kind of think of it as like a firework, just kind of these lines coming out. So I have like a little bit of a fuzzy mark, and I know that if I dip my brush in my water and then just kind of add it to a little bit of my paint, I don't want drips, but it's just going to help my paint move a little easier. And I'm going to wipe on both flat sides. A couple different things were going on when that happens. Maybe I didn't have enough paint on there. Maybe it was a little too sticky, or maybe my bristles, like I had too much paint on my brush and I wasn't getting a really tight edge. All right, so I think that will work much better. All right, so, and of course I can put my hand down if my hand is clean and my canvas is dry. And if I really ride on that edge, I can get a really nice thin line. All right, here we go with those little marks. Down into my little lines a little bit, staggered. Something like that. That looks happy. All right, and I am going to do one more, I think right over here. So this one here, my little base, and I'm just gonna let it kind of splay open like that. Different lengths. And then I'll do my little marks. Just like that. Cool. I think that looks pretty. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add all my main stems. Again, we're really using that edge, and this is where you can kind of think about how thick you want your lines to be for your stems, and also kind of plan out the direction of your stems. How are they growing? Is it curved? Are they overlapping one another? So I like to plan it out before I put my brush down, right? I want to really be, aware of like instead of going and being like, ooh, I'm going to definitely go right over this flower. I want to have a plan for that. So I'm going to wipe my brush on both sides. I did add another drop of water to my little black paint right here, and now I'm just wiping all the extra paint off, getting my brush nice and sharp. And I'm really going to start thinking about my stems here. So I'm going to start with this guy up here, and I'm just going to kind of use my finger and just think about how I want it to go. All right, I think I'm going to have it come all the way down here. So this might not be a full solid line my first time down, and I don't even have to go all the way down. I can lift up and come and go dip back in, right? So I'm going to start right at that base, and I'm going to probably go back and add a little bit of thickness if I want to. Oh yeah, that was a perfect amount of water for that mixture of into my black. I'm just cleaning up here. I like that. I think that looks good. So I'm going to continue on adding my black paint, wiping on both flat sides. All right, thinking about my next flower here. I'm going to just go straight down, riding the back of the brush should be pointing at you, the whole bottom of your bristles. All that edge should be standing up on your canvas. Here we go. I'm going to do this one here. This one's going to go behind this flower. So I'm going to skip over. Maybe I can see it right there and down. All right. If you need a wipe, go ahead. I'm going to plan out this one. It's going to come from somewhere in here. Riding on that edge. Being aware of that black line so I don't smudge it. Slowly. Bam, there it is. Wiping on both flat sides after I get my paint. All right, those look all happy over there. I'm going to move on over to this side. I think this one's next. I see it. I think I know exactly how I want this one to kind of just bend right here. All right, and then I have this one, which is going to add some interest. I have bending this way. Now I'm going to go this way. Let's see. And I'm just slowly really using that edge. If you just get to know your brush and get to know how much pressure, that's why, a painting like this is so helpful, to really push you to practice all these lines and to get to know your brush and maybe find a brush that you love. I always have, like, for each painting I do, I find like a brush that I absolutely love for it. So I'm going to move on over to this side here and grab this stem. So I'm going to just figure out where it's going to go. Is it going to go over on top, or is it going to go below? I think I'm going to go right behind it. So I'm going to find a nice little spot for that. Maybe think about how I want it to curve. And my line isn't solid here, so I'm just going to go back, clean up, add a little bit more paint, wipe on both flat sides. Maybe my paint needs a little bit more water. I'm using my hand to kind of brace. All right, that looks great. I have one more big one, just kind of practicing it with my finger before I go up. And I see where I want it to kind of come down and curve. Slowing down, so I was going a little fast and I was starting to see a little spotty. And that's fine, because I can go back and clean it up, or if I just slow down, reload. There, Nice. All right, so we have all of our main flowers on there. We just did a lot of work, and now it's time to do 5 million little lines. So our grass is next, and I like to start for my grass. Again, super good painting to practice your lines. I'm going to start at the base, and I move my arm up. I slide it up. Take a sip, have a snack, slow it down, and just really layer different angles. Is it windy? Are they all going the same way? Mine's pretty still, so things are just kind of flip-flopping wherever they like. Also, I have some pure black in there, and I also have some with some of that pink or white in there to soften it. I am going to introduce maybe some, those pieces of grass that have like the seeds on top. Maybe we have some of those going on. So let's go ahead. Hi, Pa. And we're going to start building our grass. So like I have this little spot here that I got some black paint, but I'm fine with that because I know I can just add a piece of grass to cover that right up, or I could add like a butterfly or dragonfly to cover that as well. So I'm going to start with black paint. I am going to introduce some with a little bit of pink or white to kind of change up so they're not all on the same plane. I want some to look closer, some to look further away. So I am going to just take my my paintbrush, dip it on into my water. I have a little bit of that black still going, and I'm just adding a dot of water into that paint, just kind of mixing it. I don't want drips, but I do want my paint to move nice and easy. All right, so I got my paint on my brush. I wiped off on both flat sides. I'm gonna get nice and comfy, and let's talk about it one more time. I'm really pushing it tonight. Is standing your brush up. So here's your whole bottom edge, right? Standing it up on your canvas. The back of the brush is pointing at you. All you're gonna do is slide up, all right? Stand it up. All the feet of my brush are on my canvas. All I do is slide up. And the more pressure you put on your brush, the bigger the mark. The more I just let it kind of sit there. I have barely any pressure holding my brush. I'm just sliding my arm up. All right, here we go. We're gonna get these lines down. All right, so let's bring you back over. Here we go. So get nice and comfy, put it on your lap, whatever you need to do, and we're going to stand our brushes up. And again, think about, and as you go up, start lifting off. So put your brush down and then start lifting up. I always start at the bottom. And I'm wiping off the extra paint. And I'm just going to continue. Yeah, when you get that nice edge, when you wipe that on both flat sides and just get that perfect, you can get a few nice ones in, and it's so satisfying, and it's like, yeah, so just stand it right up. Now, my favorite brush, you may not like it. So it's really important to find a brush that you really like and you feel comfortable with. So, every once in a while, try a new brush, and also just, every once in a while, grab a canvas, grab a piece of paper, and just practice your lines until you get it, until you're so comfortable. Because once you get your basics down, then you can do anything. So, you know, definitely blending. And I think we're great at blending, right? You guys do a great job blending one color into the other. And I think next, just nailing your lines, and then you can do anything. So I find it's very important to get different lengths, get different crisscrossing, slow it down. If your easel is covering the bottom, you can always take it out and hold it. So you can kind of work in small spaces and get like a good amount and then move on, or you can just kind of do it here and there. I think probably working in small sections is a good idea. And of course, if you want to just get a few pieces down tonight and you're like, all right, I think I want to, you know, have some clear eyes and add some more pieces tomorrow, that's fine. The painting I showed you in the very beginning, my turtle painting, I've been working on that for days. So I started it and then I put it away. Been looking at it. And I'm just playing with however I want my grass to be. I could have it lower or have it higher. Are you in a field? Or is this someone's garden? I think I'm in a field, laying in the field, kind of just looking up as the sun rises. And if you're like, ooh, that's kind of a big guy, just kind of make it work, right? Say, all right, well, what can I do? I can add a few more pieces in there to kind of make it feel as though it fits perfect there. I'm going over this flower here. You can go behind it or in front of it. Almost all the way across, and I can add some more later if I need to. I think I'm going to go in, this has all been pure black, I'm going to go in with a few, with a little bit of either pink or white, just to add a little bit of depth. If your brush is super saturated, just wipe off the extra. All right, so I'm going to add a few more with the lighter. This is just going to push one back and bring one closer to us. The lighter is going to come a little closer to us, and we're going to send that black back. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to my little puddle. Wipe on both flat sides, get all the extra paint off. All right. Yeah, I think adding this gray is really important. It's great having just the black, but I feel as though, I mean, I know, you know, it's a silhouette, it is pretty, you know, it's a flat painting, but by adding a little bit of interest you know, we added some into our petals, and adding some into our grass, it just takes it a step further, and I think that looks really nice. So I'm going to do maybe like one or two long pieces right here. And maybe one like that. And yeah, I think that looks really nice. All right, So you can continue on. I could add as many pieces of grass as I like into the bottom until I'm happy with that. But I am going to start getting my Sharpie ready because we're going to add that to add our dragonflies with a Sharpie. Yes, that's totally fine to do. Multimedia. If you want to use your paintbrush, you sure can. I just didn't have it in me today. All right, so I'm just gonna let that dry for a minute and we'll add our dragonflies into our painting. And we'll do those together. Or if you want to add like a butterfly, you could just Google a butterfly silhouette if you'd like. I am going to be doing 2 dragonflies, and I am going to highly suggest practicing on paper before going up onto your canvas. So I'm just going to draw a big one for us because I don't have one on my main. Let's see. So I'm using a Sharpie. All right, so it's going to be something like this. I didn't finish my wings. I'm going to do it with you. But it's made up of 3 parts, and I highly suggest practicing it on paper before you go on your canvas. I'm using a Sharpie, so I'm just going to show again the parts of the body. So I'm going to start with the middle part, and that is just a small oval. Same thing with the tail. Now, the smaller, just think so small. Think tiny, tiny, tiny. I mean, these are kind of big just to kind of show you. So longer for the tail, maybe proportioned. It'll be a little bit longer. And then for my little head, you can add just a little circle on top. Now, the wings come out of this part here. So I'm going to start by just adding the length of the wings, And I could get one down, the length, and then I could measure it, and then I could bring it right over here to get the same measurement, right? So I'm going to get those lines down, just like I have here. And now I'm going to I'm not going to go touching, so I have my lines. I'm not going to start the roundness or the thickness of the wing touching the body. I'm going to move up a little bit so I have the line connecting. All right, I'm going to turn this. So I'm not going to start my wing connecting my body. I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start up on the line a little bit. And look how close I am to that line. There's not much space, right? It's very tiny. So move up on that line. Because it will connect so delicately and tiny right to the body. And then I would fill it all in black. All right, so we have our basic shape. Let's do it one more time together on this, and then we'll go on our canvas. All right. Elongated oval for the body, tiny. Then I'm going to do an elongated oval, very, very long for my tail. So let's just see, one. So it's about 3 bodies for my tail. So if you want to kind of just get a measurement so you have the right proportion. Okay, now my little head. And then I'm going to do my wings, which are just going to be lines to start, and I can measure them so they're all the same. And it's almost like an X, right? Do you see how the wings come out like that? And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start up a little bit on my line. So my oval of my wing isn't going to attach to my body. I'm going to have it just attach on this little line here. Now I'm keeping it super tight to that line. One other thing to think about is how many would you like and how do you want them? Is one on a flower? Are they flying through your moon or sun? And also, are they on an angle? I think I'm going to have one kind of following the other, and they're going to be on a slight angle. So I know I have 3 body parts, and then I have my wings. We got this. All right. I'm going to use my Sharpie up on my canvas. I'm going to bring you on up, and we'll do it together. So I practice. I'm picturing where I want them. And now I'm going to start. All right, here we go. Wish me luck. All right, so I'm going to start with my body. It's tiny. Now I know my tail is about 3 of those bad boys. All right, so I'm just going to kind of take a little measurement and go 1, 2, 3. All right, it's way down here. All right, so now tiny. Oh yeah, I'm nailing it. Thank God. Here we go. Adding that little head. Tiny compared to the body, right? He's tiny. All right. Time for those wings. So I know it's coming out of the body here. And I know that it's kind of like an X, or I could do like a V and another V. And I'm going to measure the length. All right. Like that. All right, now remember, we're going to start that wing up on the little line, right? Let the line attach it to the body. Here we go. So I'm going to let that be. I'm very aware of my point. I even could be using a fine point. That would be super helpful. But this is what I got right now. So here I go. Very, very close. Keeping in mind the whole thing, right? The whole body size. Oh yeah, right? Going up on that line a little bit. Yay! There it is. There it is. All right, I'm happy. So I am going to just fill this in, just being very mindful of, I could even now fill that in with paint. I could do like, if you wanted to just add color to that, you could do like blues and greens. Dragonflies are beautiful. But I'm just going in. Yay. We did it. We did good. All right. So, should I do one more? I'll do one more with you. All right. So I'm going to have one flying over this way now. Keeping in mind, now I have this guy, so I want a friend to look like him, right, in size. So I'm going to create that body, and I'm just kind of looking at the one I did before, and that's that oval. And now I know my tail is about 3 times as long as the body. 1, 2, 3. It looks long, but once you get it up there, it's like, oh yeah, that looks great. Super skinny, long. So I have the line just like that. Let me pull you up to it. And now I'm going to come right back up. All right, and I'm going to give that little tiny head. Time for those wings. Here we go. We got this. They're coming out of the body. That first oval. And I'm slowing down, kind of thinking about how long, and it comes out to be like kind of like an X, right? There we go. All right, now let's bring it back around and add those wings. So I'm going to move up on my line a little bit. We'll let the line attach the wing to the body and down. And one more. Yay, I'm happy with it. All right, fill that in. Even if you had like purple Sharpie, that'd be cool too. And just like that. I think they look great. Let's take a step back and look at our painting. Let's take a peek. Yeah, I think that came out great. So I could go in and add more leaves or more pieces of grass. I could go back and add some more highlights to maybe the tops of my flowers. I could add, maybe if you want to add birds flying, go do that. I would definitely practice on my paper before doing that. Sign or initial, I like to do that in the bottom right hand corner. Just thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you had fun. And I will be doing an event on Friday, but I'm not going to be doing it at 7:30. You can watch it at 7:30 or anytime. I will be doing it. I'll be posting it. I might be doing it live or just posting a link to a painting. And if you have any ideas of what you want to paint or draw, please let me know. But it was a pleasure painting with you tonight. I hope you had fun, and if you wouldn't mind sending me either in a private message a picture of your artwork or in the comments below, post it. I always love seeing your work. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you had fun, and I will see you all soon. Bye, my friends. Bye.